Hello, hello, hello. It is a Monday. So you know what time it is. It's one-ish on a Monday. It's time for Dream, Do, Done, your accountability podcast. We're so excited to have you join us again. And we hope that you had a wonderful Memorial Day
Absolutely.
celebration. We sent you a little message on the day, but we hope that you took time to really remember that freedom isn't free. And we thank all of the families of our servicemen and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So while it was a 4-day weekend, some people traveling and going about, it is a moment for us to honor and to remember. So we hope that you took time to do that in between enjoying maybe some time off and some visits with family. We definitely miss seeing you, but it's glad to be here and be back for another episode from Process to Progress,
To
right? It just
progress.
doesn't happen
Absolutely.
overnight. So we're here to remind you about that and always give you information, inspiration, and motivation to keep you going throughout your week. So our co-host, the Pulpit Chick, is on location taking care of mommy duties, right? We are three mothers, wives, entrepreneurs. So at any given time, real life happens in real time, but she sends her love. And if she's able to join in, she will. But I am here with the how-to coach herself, Tamara Hartley. So over to you, sis, so you can greet the family.
Hello, hello, hello. So, first off, let me just say that I missed you all. I wasn't here the week before I had a passing in my family, and so the my sisters held me down and held the show down, and so I do appreciate that. And I said, you know what? When you don't do Dream Do Done for 1 week, it is like, oh my God, I miss you so much. What did I miss? How did it go? Because we've been doing this for 3 years. So it is a part of who we are and what we do, no matter what. So I appreciate my sister holding it down, giving you your holiday message. My daughter is in the Air Force Reserve. So,
Mm.
just, what that means to me has a new meaning when it's your baby that you're honoring. But she actually is on a 6-week leave from her family. She has a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, but she had to go do some training elsewhere. So she's out of town doing that. I'm like, this stuff is really real. And we don't think sometimes about some of the sacrifices that the men and women that serve actually have. Like, there was no, okay, well, watch your children and we'll get you next time. No, it was like, you got to go. And so that just came really real for me, particularly during Memorial Day. So people who sacrifice their lives, they sacrifice their family time, and they go when they are told to go. So it's just a newfound understanding of how that works. So I appreciate everyone that serves, and we hope you had a great Memorial Day.
Absolutely. Freedom is not free. And I'm just always conscious of that. I've had many in my family retire from different areas within the armed forces. And it makes you think, especially when
Yeah,
they're away. And, there's always something going on that we don't know about. It doesn't quite make it to the news because some things they keep private.
yeah,
Imagine that because they just spill everything. But everyone has a family. And
yeah,
we always want to honor and remember that while we might have a lot of issues with a lot of things that need correcting, we still are living in a place where we have certain freedoms that a good portion of the world is unable to enjoy. So that
absolutely.
can't go without being stated. But we're going to kick off the show today. Of course, we're going to talk to you about our lesson in our Dream Do Done journal for today. And hey, Brashunda, great to see you. Thank you for stopping by and tuning in. Pray all is well. We have some exciting news. We are team moms. Like anything our kids play, like we're the loudest and the biggest cheerleader. I know this past weekend we had a
Mhm.
closing informal ceremony for the seniors graduating from my son's school, and they all received individualized footballs, and they
Okay.
got their senior varsity plaques because we couldn't do what we would normally do because of COVID. And we watch these young men now because all of the parents were talking about when they were freshmen and how they looked, and now they're all tall and big and mature and get ready to go to college. I'm like, what in the world? So the funny part of the night was when the coaches gave their little speeches to them, and one of the moms, she was so sweet, she bought some tents and opened up, and we did it in her backyard. And at the end, they were transitioning the food to dessert. So I said, okay, I'll go tell the boys. So I was like, hey, everybody. So I was like, oh, y'all thought I was about to cheer again. Gotcha. I'll just let you know. Go back for food and get your desserts. And they burst out laughing because I was the loudest one on the sidelines. But this past weekend, my sister had a similar experience. I don't know if she's as loud as I am, but she was definitely emotional because her baby won with his team the entire meet for the state of Ohio. So go, Carl. We are so proud of you. That was one of our chants for football. We are proud of you. We are proud of you. So we are proud of you, Carl. He did it, his team. But I want you to tell the story not only about the fact that they won, and this is a big deal for Division I track and field in the whole state of Ohio. Yeah. He did something that was even bigger, and he didn't do it for everybody to talk about it. He didn't do it when everybody was watching. He did it because of the character of sportsman that he is, and I want you to definitely share that story.
Okay, yeah. So we didn't even know about this. So he had in a couple of meets before he had kind of pulled his hamstring. So they had been very easy with him, just kind of, running him when needed and things. So because they knew we were going to the state meet. And so in the prelims of the state meet, another individual from the team ran the 4x4. And the 4x4 is like his favorite. That's what they do. The 4x4, they're known for that. So another team member ran in and got him to the finals. And so he did run the 4x2 in the finals and they won first. And so then the coach was giving him an opportunity to step back into the 4x4 because that's his thing. And, because they were slated to win that. So he gave him an opportunity and he said, you know what? I think that Derek, who was the guy who ran the 4x1, I think he should go ahead and run it because they had all got medals in the 4x2 and they all run the 4x4 together. So he said he's the only one who didn't get a medal because the 4x1 didn't make it to the finals and get a chance to get a medal. He's like, so Derek should run it and get a medal because they knew they were going to win. And so Derek ran, he got a medal. So they all walked away with gold medals and the trophy for winning it all. So, I mean, and it could have been just as easy for him to say, you know what, that's my favorite race. I want the notoriety. I want that claim, I want that second gold medal, but he wanted the other person because at this stage, it's like it's only 5 of them left. Those are the 5 that are the alternate. Those are the 5 that are running. And he was like, you know what? Derek should get a medal. He worked hard all season as well. And at any time, they all ran all the relays. So he was like, he deserved a medal as well. And he made that decision on his own. And we found afterwards because they all 5 walked down. So you didn't know who was running.
Right.
But my son, he held the blocks. And he cheered his 4x4 team on to the victory. So I'm so proud of that. So when I found out, I was like,
I know you were. That means another round of fun. I'm so excited, as Brashunda said, that it was sweet. It's teamwork. Jason said boom, because that's how you want your kids to perform when you're not there, right? It's not what you're doing when people are watching. It's what you do when no one is looking. And that is just amazing of his character that he didn't want to, I don't want to call it greed, but I guess you could call it greed to say, well, I'm going to run the race because that's my race and I'm going to get another medal.
There were plenty of people that gave a little bit of backlash, like, oh, I would have got my medal. Like, why would you, because this was the ultimate, this was the end, this is the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you let someone else, like, that's how some people actually looked at it. And he was like, look, we won this thing together, like, and it made a difference. And I'm like, the person, Derek will never, ever forget that, you know what I mean? That he got a medal too, and they all felt good. So.
Exactly. And he felt good about seeing it. That's just the compassion that he had. Like, okay, I got mine. We all have a medal. Why would we leave one teammate out? Why can't we all win? And that's a lesson.
He had ran it the day before and they did well as well. So it was just like, you know what? Why take him out now? He was just like, fine. He was fine with it. And I was fine that he was fine with it because some people did look at it like, you let somebody else do. And he didn't feel that way at all. He still didn't. Like, even after people say it's like, whatever, like they share in the victory all together. So that was a good thing.
I love it. Well, we just had to kick off the conversation with that because that's a lesson for life. Because sometimes,
Mhm.
we get certain places when we talk about business, right? And you're able to get in the door, and you don't leave the door open for somebody else to come and get a seat. He was like, come get a seat, come get yours. Like, we can all eat. I have mine, other teammates have theirs. Let's make sure that you get your meal too.
Absolutely.
And that's
And it's
important.
funny because of all the team members that were left, so three of them were seniors and two of them were juniors. So Derek and Carl were the juniors, and they'll be back next year to be teammates again. So that and never,
Mhm.
that just like solidified that kind of relationship too. Like, you know what, we going back and doing it again. And Derek said, you know what, next year we obligated to do it again. So
And that's the deal. Like, that is, there's so many lessons to that. If we were
yeah.
doing a 3-hour show, we would break this one down. As Dr. Frazier would say, we would unpack this a little bit more because somebody need to get that memo, because we get greedy. We don't want to share. We
Mhm.
don't want to open up opportunities for other people, but he'll be blessed for that blessing. And like you said, his teammate will never forget what he did for him. So, with that being said, they didn't get there because they were just snoozing. They got there because they did some work. And, in our journal, shameless plug, our Dream Do Done journal, where we break down for you different parts of how you show up and keep yourself honest, right? Nobody else has to check on you per se if you're not checking on yourself first. We just support you when you at least make the intention of doing what needs to be done. So I know Brashunda and Jason both have their journals, so you can turn to the accountability message towards the end. Is discipline requires more than the minimum. And, shout out to all of them for taking the entire meet for the state of Ohio. That didn't just happen because they casually practice, or they, on Mondays they decide to do it and they come back on Saturdays. They every day consistently they put in time, training, conditioning, diet. They had to put in more than the minimum to get this result. And the accountability message that we have here is, in the pursuit of our dreams, we reach a point where we have to decide if we're comfortable with average or willing to do more than the minimum to be extraordinary. I think I need to just drop a bomb on that, right?
I'm like, that little thing right there.
That right there. Because, this is my thing. I write about this all the time. And when we focus on putting this in, isn't that a whole mouthful?
It really, really is. But it's so true.
Because
So true.
we get it twisted. And I'll just finish the passage that says, think about Michael Jordan. Do you think he knew what his legacy would be while he was practicing every morning? Maybe. But in the moment, he was solely focused on mastering the game. He kept his focus on stretching beyond what was comfortable and or easy, and demanded excellence. I'll drop another bomb on that. Right. Because that's a whole sermon for life.
Yeah.
Because some people think it's just going to happen if you casually pursue your goals or you just do enough. Jason said he but I want you to go back, because you were feeling something on that first one, right? Every time we read our own book, we're like, "Ooh, this is good right here."
It really, really is. And the thing is, you have to decide. And I think that's the part that really gets me. You have to decide. We cannot decide for you. As much as you want for your children, as much as you want your child to be that champion, as much as you want them to do well and be at the top of their game, you cannot do it for them. You can't go to the practices. You can't make them do anything. They have to want it for themselves. And I think that's the part of being excellent that all of us have to deal with. Only your parents and friends and family can only support you and want you to do something so much, but you have to want it for yourself, and not just want it, but execute. It's one thing to want to be a champion, but do you want to go through the pain that they suffer? Like, when my son pulled that hamstring, when he pulled this, and just like all the recovery that he has to do for his body every day, he went through that process. All of them did. They pushed through the pain. They pushed through the uncomfortable, when you got these aches and pains to get to where they are. And all of us have to do that. When you start your business, or you follow through on that business idea, it may not turn out the way you want to the first time. Are you willing to do it again? Are you willing to go through these master classes that we have and others have? Are you willing to put in the work and energy to do it? I remember my daughter, she tried out for cheerleading her sophomore year and did not make it, right? because she could not do the tumbling and splits and all that other kind of stuff. And so she said, you know what? That summer before the next tryout, she tried something different. She came to me. She had found a little coach that was going to teach her how to do this stuff and asked me if I would pay for it. I did. She went and did it, and she made it because she knew she had to do something different or she wasn't going to make it again. She was good at one part, but she didn't have the other part. And sometimes it's like, are you willing to do that? So when you decide, you make a choice, then you're more willing to do what it takes to get there. I think that's what was like just in my spirit while you read that, because that word decide is super important.
I'm on it today with the horns because you said something else. She came to you because she needed capacity to invest in a coach.
Mm-hmm.
In order for her to get from where she was, because she was good, but she wanted to be great. She wanted to make sure that she was able to make the team. That right there is sage advice, because that was an investment. And she knew that that choice to want to do better, like Roshana said, right, it's a choice. And she chose that I'm not just going to take this L. I'm not going to take this denial and I'm not going to go sulk in a corner. I'm going to figure out how to come back better and stronger as a result.
And that's very difficult. Think about when you were a teenager, when you got rejected or you didn't make something. All of her friends made cheerleading that first year. She was the only one who did not. So she was at the games watching them cheer, watching them do what they do. Now, she could have been bitter. She could have not tried out again because she didn't make it the year before. No, she knew she had to do something different if she wanted to make it. And then a lot of us don't go back. You know, when you get rejected, you don't make it, or that business failed, you never try again. I share, you know, in season 1 quite a bit how my first business failed. And what I did, I went and got a coach. I went and got some education. I got a little bit of know-how for those areas where I was weaker or didn't pay attention to. Some of it was just ignorance. I didn't know I needed to do that. And so I went back and I got that support and help. And I'm like, okay, now I get it. But a lot of us don't go back. We just stop. Because, you know, it didn't work out, it failed. We just stop. And that's what you can't do. And you won't do when you decide.
Exactly. Ooh, I'm going to drop a bomb on that one. Yes. I hope y'all picking up what we're putting down, because that is essential, right, to how we move and what it is that we are doing and showing up with each and every day with an intention, right, with an intention of succeeding or just bringing in the best of who you are, because success is subjective, right? It's who you want to be. And if you proclaim that you want to use everything that you have to be a blessing, then you're always working to refine. I mean, nothing starts out perfect, but if you create that discipline and decide, you can move on. So let's give them the questions to consider as you move forward and demand that excellence. And I love that Michael Jordan story, because everyone looks at the glory. They look at a LeBron or Michael Jordan or Kobe. They look at an Oprah. They look at, you know, Jay-Z, they look at Beyonce, they didn't look at all the fame, but they don't look at the work and the discipline and the consistency that has led them there, because they didn't just do the minimum. They went above and beyond. You know, Beyonce was performing and singing at an early age. Like, that's no easy feat. Dancing, singing, before, like all those things that her father made her do, and a lot that she probably didn't like. Look how she's able to maximize that. And look how she's able to create a whole profitable enterprise from standing out from every other performer. Whether you're a Beyonce fan or not, you can't deny the grind, the talent,
the work ethic,
and the work ethic that she's put in. So, you know, there's a lesson to be learned.
Yes. And just what you said, just think about what the title of the show is. And Stacey emphasized it today of all days: process. There is a process to progress. And that's what I hear in that.
Absolutely. So you're going to give us the questions to consider.
So the questions to consider. And if you know how this journal is worked out, every so often there's an accountability message. So we give you things to think about, things for you to say, hey, you know, where am I in this? So the questions are: what legacy do you want to leave? Do you practice your craft every single day? Do you make it a habit to go above and beyond? Do you demand excellence of yourself? When nobody is looking, these are the questions that you need to think about. When nobody is looking, do you finish that workout? When nobody is looking, do you go ahead and fill out the paperwork that you need to, the proper paperwork you need to fill out for your business? Do you do something every day? When you talk about a Michael Jordan, he practices every day. I used to always think and say, what do I do every single day? What do you do every single day? What do you practice? We talked about on a previous show about how many hours it takes to perfect what you do.
Mhm.
And going back to Michael Jordan, we had this conversation one day. Michael Jordan, he would practice things in practice because that's where you practice to win. So when he would like do that jump shot at the buzzer, he had done that in practice. So for him, it wasn't really a big deal. He was just doing what he does every single day. So when you do it in practice, it becomes natural and you just do it whenever you need to. We look at somebody like that, like, how does he do it? He practices every single day. It's a routine. He knows how to do that. It's not that he just did it for that game. It's not that he pulled everything together for that game. He does it every single day. So I said practice is a chance to win every single day. But a lot of times what we do
Absolutely.
is we jog it. We don't really do it all because we know it's not the real actual game. But you got to practice every day like you're winning, like you're going to win every single day.
That is so funny. My son was just talking about that in football practice. Like some kids want you to take it easy and practice. Always just practice. He was like, you got to practice like it's the game. So that practice that you said, when you do it every day, it becomes a reflex. So you
That's
can
right.
do
Muscle
it,
memory.
and that muscle memory, you just boom, boom. So it's like I do this all day. I'm not intimidated by the lights, the crowd, anything, because this is what I do. The same way where people give me compliments or admire my extemporaneous speaking, because I practice it every day. So you can drop me in the middle of the North Pole or the South Pole, baby. I will make my mic and speak. Right. So I give
Wait,
myself a bomb on that.
and so now that track is over, my son is switched immediately over to football. He was at Marshall University yesterday at one of their camps because now, senior year, colleges are looking at him. But he just got a jug machine. And so, the jug machine is, for receivers who want to learn how to catch anything. His thing is that he wants to be able to catch anything. And so he needs to practice that muscle every day. And so his dad had told him when he got the machine, well, this one, the one he had before, it was like you could like do a delay and then run out and get it. This one is a real one. So it's like what the NFL uses. So somebody has to be there putting the balls in. He said, why don't you just pay like one of the little boys across the street like $10? He was like, nah, mom can do it. So when y'all hear me say no, I gotta go because I gotta go play with my son. Y'all know I'm not working on the jug machine. But he's committed to practicing that every day, because he understands what that means from a sports standpoint.
And that's important. Discipline requires more than the minimum. That's that
Right.
chapter. So when you get your book, I hope that you enjoy reading it. And the last thing we share here is continue to go after your dreams and always strive for excellence. Don't settle for being good or great when you can be extraordinary.
Look, today has been a word. If you think about all of that, this could have been a week long.
Yes.
Because this is super important for what you decide to do in life and how you need to show up. This is a lesson for all of us, not just show up a little bit, show up on Monday or Tuesday, but to show up every day for yourself.
Absolutely. Ooh, this was good to me. What they say in church, this was rich.
Yes.
So this was a good one. And we thank you for tuning in and being a part of our production, because it's a production now, every single Monday. And, tune in, make sure you go to the website, grab your copy of the journal, so you can take us with you on a day to day and let us know how you're moving forward, because we're here to hold you accountable. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to let Tamara wind us up, and the pulpit chick, and once again, sends her love. And we look forward, by the grace of God, being here with you again, same time, 1-ish next week, Monday.
Look, even if you look at this show, we got sound effects, we got a super producer. Like, we didn't start out with any of that, but when you strive for excellence, you keep getting better and you keep dedicating yourself to this thing every day. So we have been showing up every Monday at 1-ish because it's a part of what we have committed to do. And when you show up, you make a decision. That's what you do. And so we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you stay to the website, dreamtodone.com. Again, we're going to have more information about what we talked about with the master class, and not just seeing us on Mondays, but having that support and accountability throughout the week so that you can take some action every day, daily action. That's what the journal is all about. That's what we are all about. And we're here to help and support you. So thanks for tuning in. We definitely appreciate you.